Men aren't giving up on love. They're giving up on being unseen. You see, today it's not that men don't want to love women. It's that they're tired of being the only ones trying. They're walking away, not because they're weak, but because they're finally strong enough too. Let's be honest, something is shifting in silence. More men than ever are choosing peace over pressure, solitude over constant conflict, and self-respect over one-sided love. And if you look around, it's everywhere. Good men, kind, loyal, grounded, slowly pulling back. Not because they hate women, but because they're tired of feeling unwanted, unappreciated, and misunderstood. Let's talk about why men are really walking away. 1. They're tired of being treated like they're replaceable. You can tell when a man starts to pull away. It's quiet. No arguments, no dramatic exits, just silence. He stops chasing, stops explaining, stops showing up the way he used to. And it's not because he's found someone else. It's because he finally realized he could pour his whole heart into someone and still feel unseen. In today's dating scene, loyalty almost feels outdated. Everything's about they're tired of being replaceable options. Who's texting who? Who's giving attention? Who's next in line if things don't work out? It's sad, really, because for men, love used to mean commitment. It used to mean building something that lasts. But now he's learning that one wrong move, one off day, and suddenly, he's not enough. He buys her flowers, she posts them once and forgets the effort. He plans dates, listens, supports her goals. And yet, one disagreement later, she's scrolling through her phone, looking for someone better. And in that moment, something inside him breaks. Not loudly, not publicly, but quietly, like a door closing in his chest. Men start realizing they've become disposable, that their love isn't valued. It's compared and it hurts deeply. So instead of trying to compete with the next, maybe they stop trying at all. Not out of arrogance, but out of self-preservation. Because once you've given your best and it still wasn't enough, you start protecting what's left. That's why so many men are walking away now, not from love itself, but from being constantly reminded that they're replaceable in a world that's forgotten how rare loyalty really is. 2. Emotional safety doesn't exist for men anymore. Here's something people rarely talk about and men feel too. But when they open up, they're told to man up. When they show sadness, they're told to be strong. And when they finally trust someone enough to be real, they're told they're too emotional. You can't win in that kind of space. So what do men do? They hide. They build walls. They smile when they're hurting, because the truth is, it's not that men don't have emotions. It's that they've learned emotions aren't safe. Picture this. A man opens up to the woman he loves. He tells her about his fears, his family issues, his failures, and instead of being met with empathy, he sees disappointment in her eyes. Suddenly, he's not strong anymore. He's less of a man. That one reaction teaches him more than words ever could. Never open up again. Over time, that lesson turns into silence. Silence turns into distance. Distance becomes loneliness. And eventually, he just walks away. Not because he stopped loving, but because he can't keep loving in a space where his heart isn't safe. What men crave isn't perfection. It's peace. A place where they can breathe without being judged. So when they realize emotional safety no longer exists, in emotional safety doesn't exist anymore, relationships, they find it somewhere else, often in solitude. 3, they're realizing peace is priceless. Once upon a time, men thought love meant endurance, that if you truly loved someone, you'd stick it out no matter how toxic, how draining, or how painful it got. But somewhere along the line, men started noticing something. The more they tried to fix things, the more broken they became. There's a moment, quiet but powerful, when a man finally sits insolence and feels peace for the first time in years. No yelling, no accusations, no emotional games, just stillness. And suddenly that silence becomes addictive. See, peace isn't boring, it's healing. And after years of walking on eggshells, trying to meet expectations, and never being enough, men realize that peace is the one thing they can't afford to lose again. So they start saying no. No to house. No to guilt tripping. No to being emotionally blackmailed. And when they do, people say he's changed, but he hasn't. He's just tired of paying for peace with his sanity. The truth is, a man who's tasted peace once will never chase chaos again. He doesn't need attention, validation, or a partner who drains him. He needs calm, a woman who brings stillness, not storms. So yes, men are walking away, but not from love. They're walking toward peace. And honestly, can you blame them? 4. They feel like relationships have become one-sided. Ask most men today what dating feels like. They'll tell you it feels like work. They're expected to plan, to pay, to protect, to lead, to never complain, to always be strong, always understanding, always patient, and in return, barely recognition. Men are tired of giving 100% just to get 50 back. They're tired of relationships that feel like jobs where love is conditional and effort is only noticed when it stops. A man will give endlessly when he feels appreciated, but when everything becomes a test, when nothing he does is ever enough, he starts to shut down slowly, quietly, until he's just gone. And people say he fell out of love. No, he fell out of energy. You can't keep pouring from a cup that's always empty. Men crave reciprocity, not money, not perfection, just emotional balance, a sense that they're not carrying the pieces priceless relationship alone. But when they feel like the emotional labor is one-sided, they stop carrying it all together. Love should feel like teamwork, not competition. And when men stop feeling that, they walk, not out of pride, but out of pain. 5. They've started choosing purpose over pressure. You've probably noticed this shift. More men focusing on fitness, goals, purpose, and growth instead of chasing relationships. It's not random. It's intentional. For a long time, men were taught that their worth came from being wanted, that if a woman loved them, they mattered. But as more of them heal, they're realizing that validation doesn't come from attention. It comes from direction. They're choosing purpose over pressure, because love without peace is chaos. But purpose without distraction, that's freedom. A man grounded in purpose doesn't chase approval. He doesn't beg for attention. He builds, grows, and waits for someone who adds peace to his path, not confusion. And maybe that's the lesson here. Men aren't walking away from women. They're walking back to their mission. They're finally remembering that their value was never meant to be measured by how much paint they could handle for love. Now their love feels one-sided. Now, building lives that feel good, not just relationships that look good. And that's what makes them dangerous in the best way possible. Because a man who's found purpose doesn't chase people, he tracks peace. So maybe it's not that men have stopped loving. Maybe they've just stopped begging for love that doesn't feel safe anymore. When a man walks away today, people love to label him a cold, emotionally unavailable, commitment phobic. But what if he's just done carrying the weight of being misunderstood? Because here's the truth. Men don't crave perfection. They crave peace. They crave connection. That choosing purpose over pressure doesn't require performance. They crave a woman who understands that silence doesn't mean indifference, and distance doesn't mean disinterest. Sometimes silence is just a man protecting what's left of him. Men have been told for generations to tough it out, to stay strong, to never quit. But this generation of men, they're doing something braver. They're walking away, not from love, but from the versions of love that cost them their sanity. They're finding comfort in solitude. They're learning that peace of mind is worth more than 1,000 apologies that never change anything. They're healing by choosing themselves, even when the world calls it selfish. So if you're a man watching this, remember this. Walking away doesn't make you weak. It makes you aware you're not avoiding love. You're preparing for the kind that doesn't break you to prove it's real. And if you're a woman listening, this isn't about blame. It's about understanding. Because the truth is, real connection starts where ego ends. When we stop asking who's right and start asking who's safe. In the end, men aren't walking away because they've given up. They're walking away because they've finally woken up. So next time you see a man, choose silence over chaos, solitude over fake love, peace over drama,